Hey gang, John here from Keys to Fun with another micro lesson. This one is not your average micro lesson. It's actually a completely different one that we've never done before. And it came at the behest of a student that came in for their private lesson, and they caught me doing a little playing myself. And as I was waiting for them, I was just kind of messing around on the keys playing Riders on a Storm, which is a Doors song done back in the early 1970s based upon Ghost Riders in the Sky. And that was the impetus of the composition of that song. But anyhow, they really liked what I was doing with my fingers, and they wondered if I might take the opportunity to do a little bit of a micro lesson on how you could play that song even without using any sheet music, which I thought was kind of an interesting approach there. So I tried to take the opportunity to do that for you. In the next about 15 minutes or so, you'll get a little bit of a thumbnail sketch, a basic one albeit, but I try to make these as basic as I'm able to and still cover some material that is applicable to everybody. So have fun taking a listen to Riders on the Storm. I hope you get something out of it, and let me know what you think in the comments. Hey gang. So a little bit of a different arrangement today for our micro lesson. This came on behalf of a student that walked in while I was kind of playing around, waiting for them to show up this week during a lesson, for their lesson rather. And I was playing around with the song Riders on the Storm, and they really liked the way that it sounded. They wanted to know if there was something that I could do online to kind of teach you kind of the ins and outs of a song like that, because it's really pretty straightforward, all things considered. I'm going to go over a couple of different ways that it can be played today, and I'm hoping that you might be able to utilize some of this information. I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm not going to use a lot of big words, but I want it to be applicable to everybody watching here, whether you're a beginner or not. So, first of all, that song is written in a very basic, pretty basic 12-bar blues scale. Now, what the 12-bar blues is, you think of 12 bars as being 12 measures. So that means from the beginning of the cycle to the end, it's about 12 measures to get you back where you started. And it starts out with a very simple E minor chord, which is E, G, and B. Now, to make it sound kind of bluesy, kind of jazzy, what I do is I kind of roll into the chord. And what I do is I start out playing the G flat, and then I bring it in like that. So that middle note, it's almost like a glide almost. And then I transition to the A major chord, but I keep the E in the bass. E, A, and C sharp. Okay, now what happened was I moved up a full step with each finger. And then my final jump up here is to the B and the D. Back to the A. Then there's a transition to the A minor. You can either go up to the A minor or down to the A minor. I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to go from the A minor to the D. Now I did the same thing from E minor to A. I'm going A minor to D, okay? These two notes go up, each a full step, to A, D, and F sharp, but I'm in a different inversion just like I was in the A. And then I come up, A, E, and G. Then back. D, C, back. Now, if someone is playing with a band, the left hand can usually continue to play chords. So someone might play the same chords in both hands. If they have a bass player there playing the bass notes, they might play. bass player doesn't show up. Well, the left hand of that piano all of a sudden has to become the bass. So you're sacrificing chords here for bass tone. You can hear that really low E. I'm playing them an octave apart. You can kind of get this. Was doing was playing an octave apart, 2 notes, okay, E for the E minor, and then it stays when I make the transition up to the A in the inversion, still E on the bass, and then still E in the bass when it's E, B, and D. When I go to the A minor, guess what happens? A note in the bass. Back to the E. D chord. Notes, C chord, C notes, back. Now someone plays the organ that uses the automatic rhythms, or a digital piano with automatic rhythms. They have a bass player, they have a drummer, so they can use the left hand for chords, and that frees their right hand up to play notes. So if you don't have a singer, if you're playing by yourself, unless you're singing, you can play the, and you got your chords here. Let's say that you have a singer, which the Doors did, and you wanted a little bit more of a layering effect. So Ray Manzarek, that played the keys for the Doors, had a really interesting way of layering this together. So he took advantage of what he knew about the major and minor scales and how they are very related to one another. Now, every major scale, that's the Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do, has a certain number of sharps and flats in it depending upon where you start. So here's the C, all white keys. Well, if I go up to the D, I have 2 sharps. And it goes up, depending upon where I start, how many sharps and flats I need to play. Now, there are also minor scales. And the minor scales have sharps and flats in them, or lack thereof in other cases. And there are some minor scales and major scales that have the same amount of sharps and flats and the same sharps and flats. I'll give you a very simple one. The A minor scale, A to A, all white keys, is the same notes as the C major scale, C to C with all white keys. Now, it's not going to sound quite as happy because I'm starting and ending on an A, but if I play these notes, that's the A minor, that's the C. They're related to one another because of their lack of black keys. Now, how do I know those two are related? We can go through that and take a long time to do it, but I'll show you a very easy way to remember. I take the A major, or minor rather, scale, or rather chord, A minor chord, and I look at the note in the middle. When I'm in the root position, the note in the middle is a C. That represents the major equivalent, the C. Okay? That note right in the middle. Now, what's interesting is that it's A, C, E for the A minor. 2 highest notes in the root are C and E for the A minor. The 2 lowest notes in the C root are C and E. So those are the notes there. So it's A minor, rather, there you go. There's the C, okay? Now, what Ray did is he did that not only with the A minor, but he did it with the E minor. Now, let's do a little quiz here. E minor, E, G, B. What's the middle note? G. 2 highest notes, G and B. E, G, B, G and B are the 2 highest notes. Well, G, B, and D, 2 lowest notes, G and B, are the G major. Now, here's where this all comes together. What Ray did is he played the E minor in the left, and he played the G major in the right. And listen to this layer. And then he changed to the A major chord in both hands, but in different inversions in each. So we had the E in the bottom in the left hand, but the A in the bottom in the right hand. So the E's skipped places here, switch places here. And then he went up to that B minor in the right hand. B, D, F sharp. Now I'm keeping my E down here, but I am playing the B and the D. Now how about that A minor? A minor here, C major here. D, C. And that's pretty much the whole song with the exception of my favorite part. Now my favorite part is, if you go back and listen to that song, they used a lot of sound effects. You had the thunder, you had the rain. And a lot of these things were being used around that time. You had studios that could sample all of these sounds all of a sudden, so you heard things like Leader of the Pack with the motorcycle. You heard Blackbird by the Beatles with the birds in the background. All the way up, Billy Joel started using sounds. Allentown, he had a train. Goodnight Saigon, he had a helicopter. But you think of Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay, you had the bells and the wind and the waves and things like that. Well, Ray Manzarek wanted to replicate the sound of rain, and he wanted to use the keys to do it. And what he did was he took a scale. So he started on the B, and he played B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, and B. So those are the notes. Now we play them all the way down the keys, and you get this. So it's all of the white keys with the exception of the F sharp and the C sharp, but he didn't play them exactly like that. They didn't sound like this. What they sounded like was this. Now, how did he do that? Well, what he did was he took those same notes, but he played with them a little bit. He skipped the second note and went directly to the third and then backed up to get the second. So he went B, G, A, down to the F sharp, back to the G, down to the E, back to the F sharp, down to the D, back to the E, C sharp, D, B, C sharp, A, B, G, A, F sharp, G, E, F sharp, E, D, C sharp. So I'm playing all of the white keys with the exception, again, of all of the F sharps and the C sharps. And if you do it quickly, I mean, you probably can't start out doing it quickly, and I make a lot of mistakes when I'm trying to play it too fast. But you really get a nice effect. So maybe you start slow. And what a really cool effect it gives you. It sounds like rain, and after a while, and you really get a nice effect. Again, you can go all the way down the keys and play it just like Ray did. So there's a really varied amount of ways that you can play this song, but it's a pretty basic song, all things taken into consideration. Obviously, that little section here, that is a little trickier than normal, but my gosh, if you could get that down and play some of these chords, you are going to sound tremendous. And that's a little bit of a breakdown of how you might play Riders on the Storm. Awesome lesson this week, gang. I hope you enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite songs, and I had a lot of fun trying to show you some of the intricate parts of it and give you the opportunity to try to replicate those at home. We have a lot going on at Keys to Fun. Thanksgiving is coming up, and if you're in our lesson program, know that our schedule Thanksgiving week is a little bit different. Thanksgiving being a Thursday, we usually have a couple classes on Thursday, so we have changed our schedule around a little bit to account for that. We also have some specials going on for our lesson program in terms of the purchase of lessons, as well as some incentives instrument-wise as well. Yamaha's doing some incentives. We here at Keys to Fun are doing some incentives as well. We've also taken on a new teacher, which we might be able to get behind the camera at some point. His name is Nathan, and he's doing some of our kids classes and some of our adult classes that I'm just frankly not able to get to. So you might see Nathan around here from time to time teaching as well. He's a great guy. You'll get to know him, and quite a talent, I assure you that. Again, we're Keys to Fun. We're located in Johnston, Rhode Island at 1665 Hartford Avenue. The line of our studio is 401-277-9800, but that's not the only way that you can get in contact with us. You can reply to, or comment rather, on this YouTube video, reply to the email. If you're on our email list, you get these automatically every week. And if you're not, if you go to our website, it's www.keystofunmusic.com. You can type your email in the little box down at the right-hand side, and you will be added to our list, and therefore we'll get these emails sent directly to you. On Facebook, we're located at Keys to Fun Music and Lesson Center. You can see some of these videos archived there, as well as on our website and the YouTube page as well. Again, my name is John Spencer. Thank you so much for joining us. As I always say, I know your time is very valuable. I appreciate you wanting to spend a little bit of it with us. We are an authorized Yamaha as well as Lowry dealer. Can answer any questions you have regarding instruments. And thanks again. We'll see you soon.